me, as a songwriter, the chorus should always be the most important part of the song, except the guitar solo.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm the composer and founder of the band Kvaen from the north of Sweden.
And how would you describe the music of Kvaen?
Well, I'd say from the first album, it was more undefined mishmash of everything I like. So everything from ambient music mixed with chaotic speed metal, heavy metal, thrash, and then you got the blends of black metal and death metal in there. Over the years, I guess the sound has evolved a little bit. So I would say that these days we're definitely more of a death metal band with a background in pagan and death metal. Black metal and pagan, sorry.
Sure. And Kvaen started off as a solo project, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you still handle most of the instrumentation?
Yeah, I do everything by myself except the drums. So and I also do all the arrangements, and I compose all the music and I arrange all the songs.
Do you also handle all the recording?
Yes, except this time around we did not. I had like one drummer. In the past I had like several different drummers. On the first album I had a few different drummers that basically helped me out. But this time around we had one guy, so it made everything a lot easier. And this was actually, I think, the first time ever that a recording session has gone so smoothly while recording the drums. So yeah, very, very happy about it.
So for people who aren't familiar with your band, can you tell me what your intentions were when you formed Kvaen?
I didn't have any intentions really. I just wanted to release my songs on vinyl and then quit the band. So this whole one-man band thing came very early on to me, like back when I was a teenager and I heard Bathory for the first time, and that was kind of like the game changer for me when it comes to extreme metal. It was Bathory, Under the Sign of the Black Mark, and Morbid's December Moon. Those were like the main inspirations for me when I started playing this kind of music. And bear in mind that I'm not from Stockholm or any major city. I come from the north of Sweden. I mean, our county has 250,000 people. So I mean, it wasn't like the internet was kind of exploding when I grew up, but it wasn't really that big yet. So if you got a hold on some I don't know, some cassette or some worn out CD, you were pretty lucky.
You're basically living on the border with Finland, right?
Yeah, I live 25 minutes away from Finland.
So in starting Kvaen as a solo project, was it just a matter of not being able to find anyone nearby who you could play music with?
No, those days are kind of over if you look at it this way, because nowadays you have the internet and you have social media and everyone are looking for session jobs, especially during the lockdown. Everyone were starving to get jobs, so they can pay their bills. No, that was not the case. It was more that I wanted to do everything by myself just because it was something that I just wanted to do for a very long time. And my bands that I was in at the time were sort of on hold and nothing was happening. And I figured, okay, now's the time to do this. So yeah, that's about it.
So you mentioned your intentions early on were just to release the music on vinyl. After the lockdowns and the social distancing regulations were loosened, did you start looking for people to play music with?
Yes and no. As I mentioned earlier, the initial plan was just to quit the band after the album was out and not do any shows. But promoters started to contact me and ask if I'm going to take these to the stages. And my first answer was, no, I'm not going to do that. No. But then I gave it a second thought, and I had the perfect people in mind that I wanted to work with. So we met up and we rehearsed one time, and then we realized, okay, this is going to work. So we gave it a shot at a small club in Stockholm, Sweden. And after that, the train has been rolling.
Is that what led you to continue the project and to keep writing music for it?
Yes and no again. I mean, for me, music or writing songs that's my biggest passion in life. I love writing really good songs. When I was younger, it was different. When I was younger, I wanted to be the next Yngwie Malmsteen or something. That's not. I mean, I still love Yngwie, and I'm so happy that I found this record when I was younger, and he's still a huge inspiration to me. But for nowadays, I'm more focused on writing good, catchy songs instead of practicing technique, which I did. Oh, I don't even know how many hours I practiced when I was younger. But yeah, I'm still thankful. Thanks Yngwie for all the inspiration.
When you approach a song, when you start writing a song, how does it usually unfold?
Always starts with a melody.
Do you always start with a guitar?
Not necessarily guitar. It's just a melody of some sort. It could be like a vocal line that I find really catchy, or it could be just something that starts with like a humming melody or something, and then I just take it from there and I build a song around that certain melody. And it's usually the chorus part that comes first, because For me, as a songwriter, the chorus should always be the most important part of the song, except the guitar solo. But yeah, I always build my songs around the chorus of the song.
So just so I'm clear on what you mean, do you feel like the guitar solo is as important as the chorus, or maybe more important?
It was a joke, but
Okay.
but having the style of guitar playing that I have, I can understand when some people like to joke with me, like, hey, do you consider your shredding as important as the blah blah? I'm like, no, come on, it has to fit the song. But no, of course, the chorus for me is always like the most important part of the song, for sure.
Sure. I mean, do you have a philosophy on song structure and what you want a Kvaen song to be?
Well, I was raised on rock and roll, like early Wasp, Thin Lizzy, Creedence Clearwater Revival, all these great rock and roll bands. So for me, I like it very simple, but very convincing and straight to the point. I don't necessarily always like when there's a lot of stuff that feels unnecessary. But at the same time, I love progressive stuff. Like my favorite band is Pink Floyd, and I love bands like Kansas, and they have a lot of stuff going on a lot of their albums. So, but when I write music for Kvaen, I always like the music to be like straight to the point, and it should be easy and catchy at the same time, but not be sort of silly in that way. It should still be sort of raw and a little bit dangerous.
All right. How do you find that balance? How do you find the balance of writing stuff that's catchy and anthemic without getting too silly?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question. It's just I don't know. It's well, I guess it's just the way.
Like I'm a big Judas Priest fan, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they were really great at writing anthems, but I can also see where, maybe like 10 years, 20 years, after the time they released the music, some of that stuff does feel a little bit silly.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's, if you write catchy music, I think that's always the danger.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to like the listener also, like from a listener's perspective. I mean, one of my favorite heavy metal bands of all time is Manowar, and I know that Manowar has this reputation of being super silly and they're so this and that and whatever. But I mean, for me, when I listen to Manowar, I see it from a totally different perspective, because I love what would be called true heavy metal. That's sort of where I come from, the true heavy metal, that kind of thing. So that's more or less my background. Black metal and death metal, or that stuff came way later. But I mean, I still love Judas Priest and all that stuff. And I don't know. I still think they kick ass. I mean, their latest record was really good. So yeah, I don't know.
let's talk about the latest Kvaen album. The Formless Fire was released on the 21st of June through Metal Blade Records. Did you go into this album wanting to do anything different from your previous two albums?
I never look back and think I'm going to do something different. I always just think that I'm going to do what feels right for the moment, even though it has to be within the sort of Kvaen sound. But I never just go, I'm going to repeat myself or do whatever, because I'm all about evolving and not staying in one place. It's for me, it's all about becoming a better songwriter and like evolving as a musician and not staying at one place all the time. That's sort of like my main goal, actually, with writing songs. I always want to top that previous song that became a hit. I always try to write an even better song, for the next album, and that's basically how I see it. It will always be different because, for every year that passes by, I mean, we grow in some way. Shit happens along the way, and that it all affects us. It all affects us as people. And yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna keep on doing what I do, and yeah, that's about it.
But in terms of your evolution as a musician, how do you say that manifests itself in the Formless Fires? Like, how does this compare to the previous two albums in terms of the evolution of your sound?
I think you can just listen to the album and judge. It's quite easy to judge it, just in terms of quality and in terms of, you see, everything has just matured. Maturity is a good word in this case. Everything has just evolved into something that is not to be expected when you listen to. If you start with the first album and then you jump, or either case, if you start with this third album and then you go back to the first album, you will definitely hear and feel a big difference. And that's because, when I recorded the first album, I was like 25 years old. So, I mean, it's very different in that sense.
Right. I mean, would you say that the Formless Fires is more anthemic, and maybe you're bringing in more of those classic metal influences?
No, I would say that the first album has more classic metal influences. Not saying that this album doesn't, but at that time I was listening way more to classic heavy metal and speed metal and all that stuff. With this album, I had, of course, I still listen to my old classic stuff like Accept and Venom and all that stuff. But this one is way more compact in that sense that I think it flows in a more mature way. Maybe, if I mean, I still love the two previous ones. They have their charm, but this one feels more. It feels like an updated version of Kvaen, basically.
Okay. So I asked you about your recording. Do you have your own studio?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Kvaenland is your studio?
Yeah.
And so you handled all the engineering except for the drums, right?
Yeah, I was also in the studio when we recorded the drums as well. But the main engineer for the drum recordings were the guy who mixed and mastered the album, Jacob Björnfot, who is far better than me at engineering in drums and all that stuff. So I put all my trust in him, and he did a fantastic job on all three things.
Was this your first time working with Ronnie?
Yeah, this was my first time. Yeah, for sure. But it won't be my last.
What's the name of his studio?
Ronnie has his own studio called Enhanced Audio and Production, but we recorded it in the In Flames guitar player's studio called Create Studios. Or he played in Flames. He plays in the Halo Effect now, Niklas Englin, and he has it together with Oscar, who plays drums in Engel. So that's where we recorded the drums.
Cool. Do you want to say who played drums on the album?
Yeah, so I have Fredrik Andersson, previously known for playing with a local band from Stockholm called Amon Amarth.
I think people might have heard of them.
Who, yeah, they're starting to become a big band. I've heard. So so he plays drums with Kvaen now, and things are going great.
Was Frederick on the previous album as well, or was this his first time in the studio?
No, this is the first Kvaen album that he's on. I had a good friend of mine named Tommy Tukala from Finland. He recorded the previous album. Yeah.
But Frederick's played live with Kvaen before, right?
Yeah, he has played since our first live show. He was actually the first drummer to ever play live with Kvaen. And that just happened that I just sent him because we have a lot of mutual friends. So I just sent him a message that, hey, we have this gig, and would you be up to do the show? And he's like, yeah, sure, that sounds like fun. Let's do it. And the rest is history.
I'm assuming that you demo everything before you send it off to Frederick. Do you also write drum parts, or does Frederick come up with his own drum parts?
I always compose like scratch drums, like with Easy Drummer, because it's just it doesn't make sense to just send riffs over. It's way easier to have a finished product of a demo with the drums these days, they sound absolutely fantastic. So it brings the song to life even more. And then I try to do as much like scratch vocals as I can, just to get it to like a fuller picture of the song. So that's how I do it.
In terms of what Frederick brings to the drum performance, what would you say he adds to the sound of Kvaen?
Well, he adds his own style. I mean, if I would just have a drum machine, then it would sound like a drum machine. And I think, when you have a drummer who has played drums for such a long time and has developed his own style, then that automatically adds his flavor into the music. I mean, it becomes like more, it sounds more maybe like a band rather than a guy with a drum machine, because anyone can do that, but to get like an actual drummer who has developed his own style, that makes the music come more to life, I think.
And so you wanted that live feeling on the album?
Yeah, and I mean, that's why we didn't, it doesn't sound like all the modern metals out there, which I'm not a big fan of anyway. I'm rooted in old school metal, I have no idea what's hip and true in the modern metal scene. I have no idea because I don't care. I still put on my old Venom albums, and I still put on my old Possessed albums, or Morbid Saint, or I don't know, Thin Lizzy, and all the good stuff. Because I don't feel any connection with the whole modern scene at all.
So I think you mentioned that Ronnie also mixed and mastered the album.
Yes.
What did you want Ronnie to bring to the sound of Kvaen? What did you want him to bring to the finished product?
Well, I mean, the most important thing when you're working with, when you decide to work with someone, is that you work with someone who can bring your vision to life. And Ronnie has worked with so many other bands that I am like familiar with, or I know people from these bands. And every product he has put out has been sounding really, really good. So I thought this was really worth giving it a shot, and I'm glad I did, because this album sounds just exactly the way I wanted. It's raw, but it still has those polished pieces, but it still sounds like an extreme metal album should sound like.
And I'm curious, well, in your opinion, what is that? What is an extreme metal album supposed to sound like? I mean, you mentioned you don't like the modern metal sound. Is there a specific sound that you think is the perfect extreme metal sound?
Well, when you take, I put it, I like to, when people ask me like, yeah, what do you mean when you say old school, or what do you mean when you say like extreme metal? Well, it's supposed to sound a little bit dangerous. It's supposed to sound like, it's not perfect everywhere, and there are misses. It's not perfectly tight, and all that stuff. But that's sort of what makes it perfect. Like those small little details that you can hear, that the music is alive, that it's not edited to its core. Like there's nothing that feels alive anymore. Everything feels like a robot, and that's what I hate about today's metal world. Everything sounds like it's a robot playing. There's no life to it. There's nothing dangerous. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And that's what I feel that's what I've been doing with the last two previous albums as well. And I'm not going to change that approach, because metal should be dangerous. I think it should piss off people, and it should be a little bit, living on the edge, like bands did in the 80s. That's what I think. It should piss off authorities. It should piss off parents and everything like that. And it should be not so perfect.
So, the album was recently released. What do you have planned on the live front?
Well, I just came home from a little run. We did like some release shows for the new album. So now I'm gonna be home for a little while, and then we're gonna head back out, and we're gonna finish this summer festivals, and then we'll have some more shows in late fall. A little tour coming that I can't talk too much about at the moment, but yeah, things are looking great.
So, the Formless Fires is out now through Metal Blade Records. Jacob, please tell everyone how they can order the album. What's the best way to get it?
The best way to get it is to go to Metal Blade Records web shop, where you can choose either the European web store or the United States web shop, or it's international, maybe it's called. And there you will find everything you need. A new Bandcamp is being arranged by the band soon also, where we'll sell some stuff by ourselves. I do believe that Metal Blade has one now. We had a little bit problems with it, but now it should be up and running. And yeah, I mean, if you like what I do and you want to support the band, please give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram. And yeah, thank you for the support.
Do you want to say anything about the vinyl versions that Metal Blade put out for this album?
Yeah, there are a few. We released, I think, like 6 or 7 different vinyls. They come in different splatters and everything. Most of them are running low. Not a lot of them left. So if you want to be sure to get one, then please hurry, because last time I checked, not many of those left. So yeah, do yourself a favor and get your piece of vinyl right now.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No, not really. Thanks for taking your time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you have a good day.
Tack så mycket.
Tack själv.